Hi there, Susan McGarry here, and I have a little project that I wanted to show you. It should be pretty quick. It started out with, I went to a beach and I brought back some sand and I wanted to put it in a sort of pendant. And so this is what I made as sort of my first trial on it. And I learned some things about it, so we're going to make it together right now and fix the issues that I had with it. So the first issue I had was, I thought it was a little big. It's a little clunky. It's a little long this way, and it's also a little deep. So if I was going to wear this as a pendant, it might be a little too big on my necklace. So for me, some people would like it this size, but it could be used as an ornament, or you could make it even larger and hang it on a wall, something like that. And so we'll fix that issue. We'll make it smaller and we'll make it not quite as deep. The things we'll need for it are glass. We will need some fiber paper. We'll need some sand, and we won't put that in until after we're done. I used an old wine cork, and you don't have to. We'll talk about that. But you need something to plug it with. And if you want to keep it in there permanently, you'll want some glue. We're using a razor blade to cut the cork. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing I wanted to do was cut my glass. And since I wanted to make it a little smaller, I cut it 1/4 inch by 1 1/4 inch. Sorry, I don't know centimeters on that one, but it's an even square. And the reason I chose colored glass for the back is I decided it would make it prettier. It would make the sand pop out a little bit. Instead of being on my skin, which would be almost the same color, right? So I chose colors that reminded me of the beach, that would look good behind the sand. And then I cut clear glass, and in this case I cut it 1 1/4 tall, same as this, and 1 3/8 wide. And for this one I did 1 3/8 by 1 3/8. And I figured I would try the two, might as well, as long as we're putting it in the kiln. Then we need some fiber paper, and for the fiber paper, initially I got 1/4 inch fiber paper and cut out a shape that I liked, but I still felt it was too deep, so I peeled off a layer. And I thought, well, that's better. I can peel off another layer, but then I'm down to the 1/4 inch, which I have here. See, 1/8 inch, I'm sorry. I have 1/4 inch here, 1/8 inch here. So if I peeled that second piece off, I ended up with this. So I thought, well, maybe I should leave a little bit of that on. We'll try that. And I'll cut out 1/8 inch. But I already know this is too thick. I don't want to do that. I did want to mention that you're going to want some of that hanging over the glass. So even though I'm making this neck kind of long, it will be much shorter, because I want it to hang over the glass so the glass doesn't seal shut. And I've cut this so that it leaves me a little bit of room all the way around so that this glass can seal over it. Okay, so let me cut this one out. Okay, so now I have one that's 1/8 inch thick and one that is between 1/8 inch and 1/4 inch. But the great thing about this stuff is you can peel it. I'm hoping this one is thick enough to hold the sand, maybe the finer sand. And this is a variety of sand I've gotten from different beaches. So I want you to keep in mind when you get your sand to make sure it's okay to take sand, and don't take too much. We want to leave the sand on the beach as much as possible. So if you only need a tiny amount and they allow you to do it, only take a tiny amount, right? All right. So I've got my 2 fiber papers on there. I am going to lay this on there, and I want the top flush. I'm going to lay this glass on top of the fiber paper, and what I've got is a little bit of an overhang on that clear. Can you see that? But the top is pretty flush with the back piece. Okay, I've done the same with this one, but remember this one is 1 3/8 by 1 3/8, so it's larger than the bottom piece in both directions. This one is only larger sideways. And the reason we need it larger than the bottom piece is to go over that fiber paper. Remember that fiber paper's high, so it's going to want to slump over it and still fuse to the back. So we're just trying out both. Now I'm going to stick these in the kiln just like this, and I'm going to use a light fuse firing schedule, and for you Fahrenheit people that's 9999, which is called as fast as possible. You want your kiln, you can ramp it up as fast as possible to 1380 Fahrenheit and hold for 10 minutes. Then turn your kiln off, allow it to cool to room temperature. If you're using the Celsius scale, it's the same thing, just 750 Celsius. And allow it to cool to room temperature, and then we'll take it out and see what it looks like. Okay, my pieces are out of the kiln. My firing schedule worked really well. And here they are. Look at that great piece. I just love them. They're still a little dirty. They came right out of the kiln. And I want to get this fiber paper off of them. So I would take them to a sink or put them in a bowl. You don't want this fiber paper to go down the drain. So a bowl is good. And see, what's happened is all of that fiber paper has gotten very wet. And so it's less likely to be airborne. Okay, I got myself some tweezers, so it will help me get this out. I don't want this stuff to be airborne, so we put it right in the water. We will throw it out later. Okay, I've got them dried out really well, and now I'm going to make a cork for them. The way this one had that cork, you can use anything if you want. You can make a little polymer clay stopper, just anything you want. I just happen to like the cork, but what I wanted to point out on these corks is one is sort of a kind of a rubber. It's a manufactured cork that isn't as nice, I don't think, as the original type of cork. So I'm going to use this kind. Came right out of a wine bottle. I'm just going to keep trimming it down until I get it to the size I want. All right, I like that. That's pretty cool, pretty good shape. Let me make this one real quick. I like it. That one's done. They are such good fits. I don't think I'd have to glue them if I didn't want to. All right, now I have to decide what color goes in where. Do I want the black in there? The blue. Yeah, I think I'll put some black ones in here, black sand in here. I've got this little funnely thing. This is from, I believe, a black sand beach in Hawaii. Might be on the Big Island. Oh, that is perfect. Look at that gorgeous thing. I love it. Okay, I'm going to put this one. And this one's really chunky. A lot of shells and different things in there. If you have a little charm or something, you could put it in the sand. You can see it doesn't take hardly any sand at all. Put my cork in. There we go. I'm pushing it down pretty far so that it doesn't come out. But you can see I don't need to glue it. It is a pretty tight fit. But the next thing I would do is put bails on the back. Let me do that really quick. I'm going to rough up a spot to put the bail, and then I'll use my E6000 in my bails. Okay, I'd wait for the glue to dry before adding a cord to it. And so this is where we started. This was the little sample piece, and here's what we ended up with. And I think they are pretty darn cute. Let's see if you can see those. You can see the sand moving around in those. Difficult to see the black sand, but you can see this one a little better. So a lot of fun to make these and quite easy. Very happy with how they turned out. All right. Thanks for watching. I really enjoyed doing this project with you. Be cool, honey bunnies. Bye.